Hello everyone, this is Serious Trivia, and welcome back to another Dive Diary for our multiplayer balance mod, as today we'll be taking a look at all the changes for the Commander class. To get started, we'll first take a look at the design philosophies behind the class. So commanders are generals designed to empower troops in the battlefield. Unbreakable by default, commanders can also carry their own weight in general to general combat, with a middle-of-the-pack set of stats and bonuses. And looking at their baseline stats we'll be using for this balance mod, their tier 3 cost will average 1,500. Their default weapon will be Sovereign of the Blade. White Elite will be their horse. They are all unbreakable, so the morale is 100. 25k hit point for our large unit size, and 116 base charge, 40% base attack speed, and 28 points of melee evasion. The default active abilities are Unyielding Earth, Nature's Ally, and Stone Bork. All three are very good. Two of them give boosts plus Unbreakable, and Nature's Ally, being a passive ability, gives speed, 10 points of morale for nearby units, also very good. So I don't think there needs to be any change for these three. All of them are useful. So that brings us to the change for individual characters, starting with Cao Cao here, changing the cost from 1650 to 1800. He's above average because he has a good sword, good horse, and a unique ability in Impervious Presence, which gives additional cooldown for every single general on the field's infinite range, ally generals, that is. Then moving on to his son, Cao Pi, which needs a lot of change because, like Genji, his wife, he was given very weird stats when he was made into a unique character in the latest DLC. So his cost is going to drop from 1815 to 1500. He's going to get his father's sword, Trust of God. He will not get Shadowrunner because actually Shadowrunner died early on in Cao Cao's career. His health is going from 18k to 25k. No reason to be 18k here. His base charge is going from 181 to 116, and evasion is going from 0 to 28. Then looking at Cao Ren, we have a cost decrease, 1815 to 1800, just a rounding thing. Charge going from 181 to 116, and he does have a unique ability, the Heavenly Presence, which is why he's above average cost. It's an infinite heal with a very long cooldown, so human players should be able to play around this just by forcing the issue, or else Cao Ren will be able to heal up his generals over time. Then looking at Da Qiao, we're just going to do a weapon swap to the Sovereign of Blades, and she has the Qiao sister ability, which already covered for Xiao Qiao, but just as a reminder, is getting a huge buff because it's a paired ability, something that you can work around with pick and bans, and 25 points of morale, 25% melee evasion, 25% range block chance, immune to psychology, scare and terror, and fatigue immunity for 5,000 meter range, infinite duration. Basically all units in the area will get this bonus. And then we have Liu Bei, who's going to see a cost increase from 1320 to 1500, which is the average tier. He does have a unique ability, Inspiring Words, which is quite strong. Unbreakable plus melee evasion and melee attack rate for nearby units within 50 meters for 60 seconds. However, his weapon's not very strong in terms of damage, and his armor is also on the low side, so I think 1500 is probably a good cost for him. And then moving on to Liu Biao, who's going to see a cost increase from the current 1035 to 1200, still on the cheap side for these commanders. We have a Celestial Sword to a Sovereign of the Blade change. He's a very basic and stock commander with the three active abilities that's shared on the class. He has a robe for his armor, which is why it's 20%. So he's definitely on the weaker side, and 1200 will play a role in that. And then for Liu Chong, no need to change cost. He has Show of Force, which is a great ability. We have seen it used very well. You have to kite your armies back to buy him time to use this ability, and the players playing against it should try to rush him to prevent him from doing continuous damage on your army. And then moving on to Liu Zhang, we have a change of cost from 1005 to 1500. And Celestial Sword to Sovereign of Blades. He has the Ceasefire ability, which is quite tricky to use, as you will freeze yourself as well as anything nearby that's friendly or foe, giving them damage resistance, melee attack debuff, and immobilizing them for 60 seconds. There's quite a few combo with this, whether you want to snipe enemy generals or use juggernauts, but it's hard to use. So a balanced cost for him, I think, makes a lot of sense. He's also not very strong in terms of defensive stats, 20% armor because he's wearing a robe. But aside from that, he's a pretty decent and interesting character with this Ceasefire ability. Then moving on to Sima Jiong, we're going to see a dual axe change to Sovereign of Blade and a horse change from Red Elite to White Elite. Nothing else really need to be shifted. And then Sima Lun is going to see a price increase from 1245 to 1500. He's also going to upgrade his Kindred Jian to Sworn Brothers since he does have a pair of blades. So I'm going to keep that. Earlier for the axe, we're not going to give away Red Sister. There is no gold axe, so he's just going to get the regular Sovereign of the Blade. Here for Sima Lun, he has Surprise Attack, which is quite fun to use as it gives temporary stock, speed increase, and damage as well. Then for Sun Quan, we have a cost increase from 1350 to 1500. He's also going to get a better weapon. He's going to pick up his father's weapon, the Ancient Silver Sword, and nothing else will be changed. He does have good armor, and he has an okay roster of units, nothing too great, and Heavenly Fire on top, which is what gives him that extra 20% armor boost. Overall, average character here, which is why he's 1500. And then we have Yuan Shang, going down from 1815, which is the standard price given to all the characters added in the last DLC, to 1500 here, charge bonus 181 to 116. He does have Familial Conflict, which is what gives all the Yuan characters their power. And we're going to see that added for some of the character that's missing coming very soon. But before that, we have his father, Yuan Shao, who's going to see a cost increase from 1650 to 1800 because he's quite strong. Not only does he have Familial Conflict, he also has Distant Courage, which has an offensive and defensive component. There is the melee charge bonus of 50%, which is a big bonus, given to 150 meter range ally units. That's a pretty big range. The only condition is Yuan Shao cannot be fighting. Defensively speaking, you are giving 50 morale, which is a huge chunk that counters pretty much all morale shock strategies, and gives your unit essentially unbreakable stats, also in the 150 meter range. Then moving to Yuan Shu, who is the one missing the Familial Conflict ability. We first have a cost change from 1065 to 1200. He's going to be on the low end here. Celestial Sword to Sovereign of the Blade to take advantage of the Familial Conflict bonus that we'll be giving him. Armor goes up to 20 because we decided earlier on for strategists that robes will just be 20 across the board. We're going to be removing Stone Borg from him, which is the weakest of the three abilities in my opinion, and instead he will get Familial Conflict, which makes him part of the Yuan family, giving him an option as a duelist. He has an interesting roster of unit. Those two units might not be good in campaign, but they're decent for multiplayer where range is less prevalent. And then finally, we have Yuan Tan, who's going to see a cost decrease from 1815 to 1500. Charge bonus going from 181 to 116. And that's pretty much it, as that's all the changes we're going to do to Commander class. Overall, most of this class is fine. And hopefully you all like what you see. And remember to like this video to help out the channel, and also subscribe so that we can hit that 30k subscriber milestone faster, which will trigger the start of the next subscriber game tournament. If there are any changes you disagree with or additional changes you want to propose for the Commander class, feel free to drop them in the comment section below. And I'll see you all next week for the dive diary on the Yellow Turban Generals. So until then, bye.